something that really feels like it's worth something, I guess.
Yeah.
And so wine, craft beer, cocktail culture, like the specialty beverage industry really, I feel like is another parallel industry that where we see a lot of breweries collaborate on beer together, or I just feel like there's a lot of a big collaborative spirit, and we're also seeing that in coffee too. So she's technically working, but in a very beautiful place.
Yeah. Working hard or hardly working?
That's right. Probably a little bit of both. Depends on the day.
Is the audio recording?
We are rolling.
The audio too?
Yes, sir.
Audio and video.
Audio,
live.
AV.
All right.
The whole shebang.
Sweet.
This is more comfortable. I feel like we're just,
well,
chilling, having some coffee
I
rather
feel like
than
we can
interviewing.
What was on my arm?
I don't know. A little piece of cardboard, maybe? Interesting.
Okay. I feel like we can see each other better, which is nice. Here, you want to take?
I'm comfortable.
I can't reach your mug, so I'll just.
You're making me pour my own coffee?
I'll make you pour your own coffee.
What is this?
But I got to make sure that you pour. Whoa.
Am I taking the rest of this?
Maybe not necessarily though. I'd say about half.
If you'd like.
But
we'll leave that.
Okay,
it has
that's
a
just
nice
gonna
color.
get cold. Okay, Ben has the least.
Dang.
You can handle the caffeine, right? You're gonna stay up late.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I can handle it.
You also don't have to
And
drink
I'll
the whole
take this
mug.
last drip.
It's a whole process right here.
All right. It always is. It always is.
Yeah.
We need a scale and just an ounce. So we
That's
can know
crazy.
exactly how much we're putting in each mug. I do that with dinner sometimes. Like with, I don't know
Pull out the scale.
how much I served, and I'm like, which bowl has more food in it?
Honestly, kind of smart,
Yeah.
but I don't.
Portion control,
Yeah.
Well, more so it's just like, who am I
That's
giving
like
more food to? Because that matters.
Seems like something that I should have done with my siblings. Pouring out juice. Whoever gets the equal amount of juice, you got to get a scale out for that.
Yeah, that's it's a good idea.
My family was not into coffee all the way back then, so we didn't have any scales.
Yeah,
Man.
I know. Well, that's how your kids are going to be. That's how all of our kids are going to be.
Precise,
They're gonna be
accurate.
Scale for
weird.
everything.
No.
You're going to be
It's gonna be
weird.
great. Math,
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to EP, what, 13?
What?
13. No, 12.
No, is this 12?
This is 12. We were planning out future episodes. That's why I said
Okay.
13, but
It's 12.
this is 12.
This is 12.
We're here with Ben Martin.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back, Ben.
Good to be back.
Excited to have you back. So we are going to be talking about Expo. Ben
Yes.
was there with Ally Coffee.
So I was indeed.
In the last episode, we talked a bit about kind of our experience.
Yep.
We actually went really long.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get through everything.
Nice.
It was just ran out of time.
If 90 minutes wasn't enough for you, well, welcome back.
Yeah.
We got more to talk about.
But what I think we're going to try and do is focus a little bit more on Ben's trip than ours, because we talked a lot about ours.
Yeah.
Because Ben was there doing totally different things.
True.
Totally different people.
I probably had a very different experience than you guys did.
Yeah. We honestly didn't see you very much at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Which kind of surprised me, but I mean, it makes sense too.
Yeah. Massive floor.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot. There's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
This coffee we actually got from Valor Coffee.
Shout out Valor.
Shout out Valor Coffee. Shout out Ethan for giving me this. I've been drinking this at home. Yeah, it is.
Sorry,
this is the. I wanted to say it right. I'm going to say it again. This is the Colombia Sebastian Ramirez.
Heck yeah.
It's super good. I've been ripping 18ers at home for
Everybody say that, but
for a couple weeks now.
all right.
Not a couple weeks. Has it even been a couple weeks? Has it maybe been 2 weeks since?
Maybe
since
2.
Expo?
I've lost track of time.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just a sweet coffee. There's not there's florality, but there's not crazy complex acidity. Kind of brown sugary. I like it. It's a good one. I believe that this is a coffee where they've met this farmer when they went to Colombia.
Nice.
More recently as well.
That's
so
cool.
yeah, super good.
I did listen to that episode. It was a good episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah. Makes me want to go to Colombia or any coffee producing country for that matter.
I didn't even need the convincing.
No, that's true. That's true. I've always
doesn't take
wanted
much.
to go, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. This is really good.
Yeah, it's lovely. Nice and sweet.
That's what I always want to try like new and exciting coffees, but I just love a coffee that is just so simple and good.
Yeah.
Like that's just what it is. It's just a good coffee.
It is, and it's nice and clean. It's good.
And it's like I can drink this in the morning. I can drink this in the afternoon, right? And it's like the right amount of sweetness and complexity to where it's interesting, but it's not overwhelming. You know, it's not it's like anaerobic natural
and this
coffee.
is going to sound like bad,
funky.
but it's not. But not every coffee has to blow your socks off.
No.
Sometimes you want to keep your socks on.
No.
You know?
But
most
this
probably won't.
But even so, like this was doing something to my socks. Like I'm enjoying it.
They're staying on, but like
I'm happy.
tingling your
I don't
toes.
know
I'm
what's
happy
going
drinking
on
this
with my
coffee.
socks. Yeah, exactly. So Ben,
Yes.
for people that don't know, if you listened when Ben was here last time, you know that he works for Ally Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So Ben, tell us a little bit about like what gets Ally to Expo, like what gets them there,
Sure.
what gets you there.
Yeah, so Ally, we typically have a presence at these events every year, typically in the form of a booth. For those that maybe didn't listen to that previous episode or just don't have any familiarity with Ally, it's a green coffee importing company. So we work with producers and, ocean freight and warehouses and essentially handle a bunch of all the logistics that get the bean from the farm to the roasteries here in the States. We have an operation in Europe and Asia, kind of all over. So, we do coffee importing. And so what we do every year is we pop up with a booth at Expo, and it's a chance for us to interact with our clients, interact with producers and exporters, the people we partner with on a daily basis. And just having that kind of face-to-face interaction is super, super valuable for us, for everybody at Ally. Whatever role you're in, it's just super valuable to have that face-to-face interaction. So that's why we usually go to things like Expo, so that we can not only interact with clients, but also just kind of see what's going on in the industry, see what's making people excited, continue to build and develop relationships with people, suppliers, partners, clients, etc. So that's what gets us to Expo every year. And so me being an account manager, along with my fellow account managers, we every year, it's like the one time a year I get to see most of my coworkers. So it's it's really fun to get to spend time with them outside of the trade show floor.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
That's cool. Are there like clients of yours that you like met face to face for the first time that you've done? Like, is that something that kind of happens there too? Like,
oh yeah, So it's a mixture of both, really. Like I get to reconnect with friends and clients that I haven't seen, that I've met before and haven't seen, since the previous expo or whatnot. I do get to meet a lot of people for the first time that I've been working with and interacting with via email or like phone call. But this is like being like the epicenter of the coffee industry, like the annual coffee industry like events. This is at least for the United States. This is the big one. So a lot of people are there, as you guys are aware. I get to meet people for the first time, and also people who have never worked with myself or with Ally in general. Stop by the booth, and so we get to meet some prospective clients and whatnot, and just kind of showcase what we do. And we usually have both clients or producers, or even sometimes we ourselves will brew coffee at our booth, just to kind of showcase what kinds of coffees we're bringing in. So
which we did for PBS.
Yeah, we got to have you guys at the booth for
that's
an
one
hour
of the
or
things
so.
we didn't get to at all in that last episode was brewing coffee. I mean, we did touch on it, but we didn't actually
talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's perfect because now Ben's here.
Exactly.
Here we
are. Yeah, cool. So your trip, just like maybe just walk us through kind of like bullet points, right? Like getting there, like what are some things you did or that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my first time in Houston.
Because I haven't really heard about this.
Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
but like, I don't even know this. So
short version, I had a much better, like I had, it was a great trip overall for many reasons. First of all, Houston, the city. I'm just being honest, had low expectations or didn't really have any expectations at all.
Sure.
I don't know. Like I often hear my friends that I have in Texas talk about Houston as like the butt of a joke, kind of like it's like everyone makes fun of Houston in Texas. So I was like, Houston, maybe not the most exciting city to visit. I've never been before, so but I was pleasantly surprised. Friendly people, very friendly people, very hospitable people. Amazing barbecue, probably the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. Truth Barbecue, shout out. Great coffee scene. Blendon Coffee Club was a cafe I got to visit. That was solid. I went to a cafe called Blacksmith as well. Super solid. Good food menu there. Blacksmith is like one of the Houston OG specialty coffee. Nice. One of the first people on the scene there. So I was pleasantly surprised with Houston. Also, I just thought the parks in Houston were gorgeous.
That park in front of the convention center was really nice.
That was so beautiful.
Yeah.
So green, and maybe in the heat of the summer, it's maybe not quite as green and beautiful. It was pretty hot, especially for us, us from Michigan.
Coming from like 40s.
Yeah, it was a sweaty
80s.
trip. But yeah, the parks. I was just impressed with Houston, and if I found myself there again, I would certainly not be upset. So that's one thing. I don't know about your guys' experience.
We really
with Houston.
didn't have a ton of time outside of the expo itself to explore, but we did go to Tenfold Coffee, which is really good.
I wanted to go there.
Stamp-backed coffee takeover there.
Nice. I wanted to go there, but I did not get a chance.
The bar takeover is such an interesting thing to me because it's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's super cool, right? Like Tenfold doesn't have to worry about running their bar, right? They can get somebody else in there, give them an opportunity to like be close to the expo and serve their coffee. Yeah. But also on both sides, that sounds so hard too. Yeah. Like to be like, here, take over our cafe and run it. You know,
man, that's
a lot of trust.
Yeah,
and also like to just like step into somebody else's cafe and try and serve coffee well. Also sounds very
and it's for specialty coffee shops in Houston. That's the biggest weekend of the year for them.
Oh yeah,
that's when all the professionals are there who might have a critical eye, and so I'm like,
definitely gonna have a critical eye.
You're entrusting the facilitation of your cafe experience to somebody that's not you. That's risky and bold, and I kind of like it.
But from what I could tell, Stampback did an excellent job.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you didn't know and you weren't paying attention, you'd be like, oh, this is just a regular cafe. Just busy today.
That's the thing. They didn't, it wasn't like, they
wasn't
didn't seem
super
out of their element
loud.
at all.
That was Stampback. Obviously, they had their banner and wearing hats and stuff like that. But
they kept their menu more limited, which I think was smart for the busyness. But, like, they kept it very coffee-centered because that's who they knew were coming through. But, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. That is really cool.
We had some burgers.
Oh yeah,
there.
Nice. What was that place?
Rodeo Goat.
Yeah,
Rodeo Goat sounds like a very Houston name.
That's probably the best food that we had.
Yeah,
there.
That country fried steak at that one place
did not.
The taste wasn't like horrible, but like
I just don't know why I bought it. I don't know why 3 of us bought a country fried steak and
heat of the.
I don't know. Got stressed out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but Rodeo Goat was good.
Rodeo Goat, that is such
I got the I can't remember what it was, but it had like fried ramen on it.
Whoa,
it was incredible.
Oh, was it
on a burger?
The Shogun,
the Shogun burger. So they had this thing where they had 2 burgers, and like I think if you ordered,
they had like a counter,
competition to see which one was more popular. So they had like, and you could like add to that number if you ordered that. So. Probably a great sales tactic for them. I'm sure it sells a lot of burgers. Sure. Yeah,
interesting. Well, how was the ramen burger?
It was really good. It was really good. I wouldn't think.
I'm curious.
I saw that on there, and I was like, "This looks like a bunch of weird stuff on there," but sounds surprisingly really good, and it was really good.
Huh.
I got a burger that had some like, it was a little bit sweeter, like bacon, and like there was like some sort of blackberry. Something on it.
They like
that was
I
good.
Think from what I could tell from all of the burgers we got, they like to lean into the little bit of sweet side with the savory. So like, if that's not your jam, you might not enjoy it. But I really did.
Yeah,
okay,
it was good.
Nice.
Okay, so you went to a few of those places.
Yeah, Houston, a wonderful place. I'd go back.
Yeah.
the show or expo. So I was, for the most part, I was pretty much. I was at the booth. We had a booth, the Ally booth, and so
that's
I
what
was.
You're there for.
So that was my primary responsibility was to be present at that booth, pretty much for the whole weekend. There was certainly some wiggle room. I could take a break and go have lunch and go walk the floor a little bit. But I know I definitely did not get to see as much variety as you guys did. A little bit bittersweet because I definitely had a great time at the booth. Just getting to spend, first of all, just with my coworkers. I just am reminded every time I get to spend time with them just how good of a team we have, and how much I just genuinely, even as people, I just really enjoy them. And so that was really special to just get to have time for us to connect and bond with each other, but also like work together, work on things side by side. That just doesn't happen in our company that often because most of us are pretty spread out. So that was just such a special thing for me to get to build some team chemistry, and that was one of the bigger, more impactful things for me leaving Expo was the chemistry amongst our team. Felt just so I just felt like we clicked really well. Everyone was genuinely excited to be around each other. Everyone was genuinely had each other's back and wanted to just do a really good job alongside of each other. So that was just a cool team to be part of for that weekend. And so just shout out to the Ally team. But so at the booth, pretty much the whole weekend, my legs got really tired every day because you're just standing all day long. And we every hour or two, we'd rotate in a different client to brew at the booth, you guys included. Every once in a while, we'd have a producer stop by that we work with, so it was fun, like Hester from Bedebuna out of Ethiopia. I know you guys got to taste her coffee. She's doing cool things. We had some people from Peru. We had a exporter from Mexico there, and so it was just really fun to really put a face to the absolutely really personalize the coffees that we interact with on a daily basis. The coffees that we write contracts for with clients. It's just really meeting the people behind those coffees is always such a special experience, and makes them. I mean, they're already great coffees, but it just makes them that more special to have that experience.
Because we were all over, so we didn't. I don't think that we really had very much coffee from the Ally booth. What was one of your standout coffees or memorable coffees that you got to taste from somebody there?
I was the most memorable coffee I had was actually from an exporter that we work with out of Mexico. Cafeología is their name, and we'll be bringing in a few lots from their coffee from them this year, and they brought those coffees to share at the booth. They were only there for an hour or two, but man, there's this one washed coffee that they brought that we're bringing in that it was very sweet, very the clarity in that cup blew my mind, it was just I just wanted to keep drinking it all weekend long. I just could not stop thinking about that coffee. Nice. So there's this washed lot from Mexico that we're bringing in. Cool. That was it blew my mind. It was so sweet and so clean and just amazing. So
maybe we're sliding a couple
and
of samples
there
over
might
to
be
us
some samples headed to Mundo's.
Yeah, that's nice. We have really liked. I feel like we've had some really good washed Mexican coffees. Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of an origin that's kind of slept on for some reason.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like in the last, especially especially the last year or two, but within the last 5 years, I feel like it's really starting to get the recognition that it deserves as a place that, as a country that can grow just beautiful coffees. Yeah. I feel like more and more people are talking about Mexico as an origin that grows really good coffee. That makes me really excited that Mexico is getting that. That's the recognition they're getting. I think it's awesome. Yeah. Because there's some awesome producers there doing really cool things. So, but yeah, that was a coffee that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome.
really hope I get to try that sometime. That sounds great. Because we had that Mexico Fabian a couple years ago.
Ooh, yeah.
And I feel like that was
Gaetano.
one of the Mexican coffees that was like, wow, like this is really good Mexican coffee. Yeah. And since then I've had a few that I'm like, man, these are really good coffees. Mm-hmm. Like, not to top 100 coffees I've had. And now that is super vague. Because I couldn't actually place that or remember, but it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Have we even had 100? I've probably right.
Yeah, we've had Mundo's has had over 200 plus.
Whoa,
so
origins.
Me.
You?
Yeah, which is like
I've tasted every single one. But
hey, there you go.
Yeah, I know. It's like I've had a lot of coffee.
You've probably had over 100.
Probably.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be shocked if you haven't.
I'll say top 50. I'll put those in the top 50 because goodness.
Top 100 doesn't sound like it's.
No, that sounds unimpressive.
I know.
I would have had to have had thousands.
You could
of
put
coffees.
Yeah.
For that to mean anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were good. I liked them a lot.
Cool.
So,
yeah. I feel like though the just the general like the booth, the people that showed up at the booth to connect with us or to find us or to meet us this year, it just felt such like a. I don't know. I've been to a few expos before. This one, more than maybe any of the others I've been to, felt just like such a collaborative effort between really just across the board. Everyone that I got to talk to and everyone that I just got to observe from afar at pretty much every booth, it just felt like people truly like wanted to collaborate. And in the industry in general, it just feels like people want to collaborate more than I've ever seen before. Yeah. It's becoming, and I feel like coffee was never a competitive industry. People, trying to get the upper hand. I never really have felt like this was, like that was a huge thing in this industry. But I just feel like more than ever, the industry is moving in a direction of collaboration, and I think that is so cool.
Yeah.
I think that could. I just think so many good things could come out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think is driving that?
That's a great question.
I mean, that's kind of a hard question.
That's a very hard question. A couple things come to mind immediately, and I would love. I mean, if you guys have thoughts on that too, I'd love to hear where you think that's coming from. Some of it's the personalities that are drawn to working in the coffee industry. I feel like being such like a niche industry, it attracts it draws in a certain kind of person who has certain values in what especially specialty coffee. Like commodity and specialty coffee are two separate things. And two separate like personalities, I guess. And so, but I feel like specialty coffee, especially, too much special there. Not enough special. Never enough special. I just feel like it attracts a certain personality, a certain person with a certain drive who wants certain things, who wants to. Well, I mean, people are drawn to quality in special when you're talking specialty coffee, and so it's people who want to do good things. It's people who want to push things forward, who want to do better than we've done in the past. And I'm not even just talking about in the quality of what we're drinking, but like the quality of service we provide for people, the quality of space that we can build, the quality of communication between producer and roaster, or producer, importer, and roaster, and really along the whole supply chain, the quality of how that interaction happens. So I feel like it's a bunch of people who, because they want to pursue quality so passionately, and that doesn't that's not just exclusive to the cup that we drink, although yes, that's part of it too. It's people that want the best across the board. So and that's only gonna like we're only gonna get. I mean, we'll never reach the pinnacle. We'll always be chasing better and better. But is there such a thing as perfection? I don't know. I would say probably not. But because that's what we're chasing, though, that will only happen with collaboration. If everyone's fending for themselves, then we're missing out on a lot of stuff. And I think this industry recognizes that, which I think is so cool. And I feel like
you don't get to see that a lot with
right
many other industries.
Totally. I mean, a very select few. Like I feel like maybe like craft beer is something like that, or like the wine industry maybe. Industries that also have a heavy emphasis on producing a quality product or a product that's associated with I don't know, just like something that really feels like it's worth something, I guess. And so like wine, craft beer, cocktail culture, like the specialty beverage industry really I feel like is another parallel industry that where we see a lot of like breweries collaborate on beer together, or I just feel like there's a lot of a big collaborative spirit, and we're also seeing that in coffee too. But you think of an industry like, I don't know, packaging. Maybe not particularly coffee, but just any kind of packaging. It's just kind of like, I just want to make as much product as I can and sell as much product as I can and make as much money as I can. And of course, people in coffee also need to make money to survive too. But I feel like there's less of like a drive to like, I just need to make as much money as I can. No, it's like, I want to create the best product, the best relationship that we can, because that's how the industry is going to move forward.
Yeah, it is really interesting being in a room full of so many people who like are just really passionate about what they're doing. And, like, not to say that everybody there was that passionate. Like, there were definitely
absolutely not.
There were definitely a lot of people there.
As I think you guys talked about this in your last episode, there's packaging reps there that maybe aren't so into like the quality of supply chain relationship as but like even just to see so many like people that own like cafes and all along that chain that just really care about people that they don't know is just really surprising. I feel like it's very easy to have this kind of cynical view of most of humanity, and just it's surprising to see so many people from so many different cultures and backgrounds and places and all of this, and they do really care about the well-being of other people in the industry. And
that's just like, where else does that exist?
Very few places,
very, very
at least
hard to
in a job or like a corporate or like a industry context. Very few places that doesn't exist very often. And so it is, if every time I'm in a large industry, like a large industry event, every time I'm at something like that, I feel like a renewed like inspiration for that aspect of the industry. And so it's
cool to see all of those, not everyone there, obviously we already talked about this, so many people who are just passionate about what they do. Really inspiring to see.
Absolutely. Really passionate, really proud of what they're doing, and really excited about what other people are doing too. Like it is so cool that so many people from every company want to also go visit everyone else's booth because they think they're doing cool things.
It's like a science fair.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Like, oh, like I'm doing I think like me and my company, we're doing a cool thing. Check it out. Like, look at what we got. But also like, I want to go look at what they're doing because they're doing something really cool and it's different than what I'm doing. And I can't get that where I'm at. And so like, it's just a really unique and special environment to be a part of.
Speaking of cool things, what was one of your like favorite booths or products or just like places in the expo that you got to like visit or check out? I know you didn't have
I definitely did not get to see as much as you guys did.
I didn't find the Weber Workshops booth till the last day.
Man, I mean, there's a lot of booths.
I know. I was like, this has been here.
That show floor, every year it blows me away just how big that show floor is. And I feel like this year was bigger than ever. I don't know. Maybe it's just like recency bias, but I just feel like it was so big this year.
Big,
that's a good question. Favorite booth or thing I got to see that was not the Ally booth. I won't say that answer. I really enjoyed... I felt like this is maybe a broad answer, but I love hanging out or just visiting the Roasters Village, that area of the show floor. I feel like that is like the meeting point for a lot of people. I feel like that's like the like one of the true like community hubs. Of course, there's collaboration happening across the floor, but especially in the Roasters Village, it's like everyone ends up congregating at some point to the Roasters Village.
And they're not like trying to sell you anything there.
They're not trying to sell you anything. They're not designing their own booths really, and their booths like they're more of a stand than a booth really.
Yep.
They're so close together. You're like so like you're working alongside people from. Like they're in the boxes with 4 around, so you're behind the booth with people from 3 other companies, and so it just feels like I love getting to visit the Roasters Village, and this year was no different. Not only are there usually some pretty cool coffee companies with some delicious coffees that you can try, but just to see like I feel like it really symbolizes like that close kind of collaborative connection kind of spirit that we were talking about. So it's always fun. I find myself often visiting the Roasters Village throughout the weekend. So I really like that spot. That was probably my favorite when I got to get away from the Ally booth. That was my favorite spot to go and see.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you get to see I always keep talking about this, the fellow Espresso Series 1 at all?
I very briefly, and really only from afar. I did not get to really spend much time with it. Yeah. I did stop by the fellow booth very briefly. I did not get to play the ring toss game. It was shut down when I was there, so I couldn't. I don't know if there's any update on your.
They still haven't, so I'm sure they just got.
Hey, fellow, we love you guys. That's fine.
Check out all that stuff.
But hear me out. You send us a review unit. We'll get a review. We'll test it out. Be very thorough. If we like it, we'll go right on that bar back there.
Wait, your bar?
We can trade places. Right. You just bring it over just for the episode.
Every other week.
Yeah.
Do we trade it off?
Yep. I want full custody.
Not happening. Anyway.
Or you can send us 2, because we got to test out like 2 different colors. You know.
Yeah, the colors.
I'm thinking. What do we think? Like cherry red and a black, or?
Yeah, which one would you want?
I don't know. I like the walnut handle, but I don't know that like red would go on this bar very well. Obviously, I think the black would go great, and I could always just buy a walnut handle later.
That's true.
But
it's true.
I'm just dreaming of things that will never happen. But
well, whenever that Breville kicks the bucket,
I think, yeah, it's a good machine. I just you know how it is. You see a shiny new toy, you want it. So
maybe you gotta make it kick the bucket.
Oops, I dropped it. Shoot.
Cool. Okay, I'm trying to think of another question now.
Yeah.
Oh man. So there are like every night of Expo, there are some like events happening after.
Oh, many. Yes.
So we only went to one.
Yeah.
It was brief. I just don't like. We weren't a group of people that wanted to like be out and doing things.
Yeah, no,
really.
Understandable.
So did you go to a handful?
I'm gonna be honest. No.
No.
Short answer, no. I did not go. Part of me regrets that, because it's the one chance a year that we get to do stuff like that. A lot of companies, some of them local, some of them the bigger brands like La Marzocco, like the parties happening and different latte art throwdowns and whatnot. I really didn't go to any this year. And I have in the past, but that was also, I went to more of those events when I was not, when I was, before I was with Ally and I was at Expo, I wasn't like working a booth all day long.
Yeah.
And working a booth, especially this Expo and last year's Expo were the first 2 these are the first 2 Expos where I've been kind of like, stuck to a booth pretty much the whole show. And just due to the amount, like, just so many people are coming to have conversation, and so you just spend all day having great conversation, sometimes very long conversations. And again, great conversations, necessary conversations, beneficial conversations. But then by the end of the day, I'm like, man, the last thing I want to go do right now is socialize with a few hundred more people.
Yeah, I bet you were tuckered.
I was pretty exhausted.
Yeah.
I was wiped at the end of each show day, and so no, I did not go to any events this year, but I did go to some fun restaurants. One called Nancy's Hustle, great name and great service, and great food. And so that's what I did instead of
what kind of food?
New American, I think is what I would maybe label it as. Sure. They had these things called like Nancy cakes that look like a pancake, but it's not a pancake.
What's in it?
And they had like, well, nothing's in it, but you like spread this cultured butter with trout roe, which is like trout eggs on it. I was skeptical because fish egg. I just don't have much experience with that. But oh man, it blew my mind.
Really?
So yeah, Nancy's Hustle. If you're in Houston, go to Nancy's Hustle. Shout out Nancy's Hustle. Am I allowed to make shout outs? This isn't my podcast.
You're allowed to shout out. That's
cool.
what we do. That's basically
cool.
what this is.
Well then, shout out. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Nancy's Hustle. Barbecue. The Post Market was like this food hall, food market kind of thing. With an amazing rooftop that had like a cool view of the skyline. Just got to go there. So that's what I did instead of going to like the parties and stuff.
Sounds more fun.
Yeah, it's a little bit more my speed.
Food, yeah.
Sure. Nothing wrong with a party, and like those are obviously huge things, and a lot of people love them, understandably so. Just not my speed.
Yeah,
other things I'd rather do.
Sure.
Oh man, what was I going to ask? Oh, I was going to ask about, like, what kind of stuff did you end up bringing home? I know that you said that you were trying to bring less than usual.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's the story of Expo. One of the stories of Expo every year is like, I mean, so many people are giving away so much stuff that like you always got to leave a little extra room in your suitcase. But I always end up coming home with stuff that I'd either never use or with so much coffee that I'm just like not going to drink all of it. So my goal this year was indeed to come home with as little stuff as possible because I already have too much coffee stuff. And my counter space and my cabinet space should probably be given to some other things at this point. But I did get a few coffees that I brought home. One from a coffee from Indie Coffee Roasters, which is down in the Indianapolis area. It's a client that I work with. They gave me a delicious honey processed Ethiopia coffee that we worked on with them. And also the Indie crew is just wonderful. Shout out Indie Coffee.
I was going to say.
I'm just going to be like handing out these shout outs. Shout out Ben Law. It was his birthday yesterday. Shout out Ben Law. Shout out Nick Bilderback. Shout out Jack Clark. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'll stop with the shout outs. Indie Coffee Roasters. Yeah, delicious coffee. Ran into the Madcap crew and they hooked me up with some coffees too. And so, but that's the only coffee I brought home. Just a couple samples of Madcap and one bag of Indie Coffee Roasters. And all of them were delicious. And I already have other coffee at home too. So I'm like, it's the perfect amount. And outside of that, I came home with a couple shirts, a tote bag, a new like mirror, water bottle.
Nice.
That's about it.
Epic.
Most of it was honestly like new Ally merch that I didn't have yet, so they just kind of handed it to us. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about you guys? Some things you guys came home with?
You know, not a ton, but like
got this, yeah.
Yep, got that. Got a tumbler from the AeroPress booth.
Yeah.
Nice.
They get you with that. Like I picked it up and I took it and I was like, I don't need another tumbler, and I don't even the tumblers I have, I don't use them anyway.
I got it in, and actually this color pink, because I thought that maybe my wife would like it, and she's been using it. So
there you go.
You know, like it's like the short wide, tumbler. She likes that style.
Short wide tumbler.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Got a Valor tote bag. They had like Expo.
Theirs were cool.
Yeah. They were cool.
Theirs are cool.
My wife is also, that's been her daily driver since then.
Respect.
So
yep.
That's good.
I feel like I don't ever see her walking around without it. So
yeah, she's literally been using it since I got back.
Free advertising for them. So.
Yeah. Except it's very small. The word Valor on there because it's like I survived Expo 2025. Really big on it.
But like that might be better because somebody has to ask you like, what is that?
That's what I've been saying.
They
all
actually
along.
ask you, then they actually have more of a reason to be like, that's cool. Let me check them out.
I know. Exactly. Yeah. It's like you gotta I feel like that's always like a great philosophy.
Shout out
with
the
branding.
genius marketing at Valor.
Yep. Shout out Valor. Oh, seriously though, Valor. Jack, clip this later. Opening this coffee, I don't know who's doing your roasting or whatnot. It was beautiful. Ooh. I have not found a Quaker in this bag.
Ooh. Nice.
Which is like super uncommon. Wow. So whoever's doing that, shout out to you, because that was a great job. I was like, I opened it and was impressed. Like just looking at the coffee. That is no easy
feat. Either it's a super consistently roasted coffee, or somebody spent a long time, or you've got some high tech equipment.
Yeah, I mean, it was just great. Above. It was like, but I mean, even like, everybody has Quakers.
Yeah.
I've got some Onyx coffee now, and there's super common. There's Quakers in them, and I sort through them when when I'm brewing, and there's just like nothing in there.
Nice.
So it was good. Maybe they just like really like put somebody like the hours in because they knew they were bringing it to Expo or something. I don't know, but it looked great.
I thought of a question for that we could maybe discuss about Expo. Who do you like? Obviously, going to Expo, whether you're a roaster or whatever, however you're involved in the industry, is not necessary.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to Expo. It's not like if you don't go to Expo, you're nothing. Like it's not. Yeah. Who is Expo right for? What kind of person, or what kind of people, I should say, because there's obviously multiple profiles probably that Expo is like a good like who what are the kind of people that like I don't know who should be going to Expo?
I would say like anybody who's really looking to make a lot of connections with a lot of really passionate people. Sure. There's connections to every part of the industry, whether you're like a new roaster starting out and you want to see all the equipment you may need. You want to talk to these people in person. It's really helpful to be able to see all this equipment, all the espresso machines, the grinders, and everything you may need. And there was a couple like cafe design booths that I saw that they'll help you build out your cafe or help you design your space, because I know a lot of people want to open a cafe, but it's a very daunting task if you don't know what you're doing. So this would be a great option for somebody like that who wants to start their cafe or already are in the process of it.
Sure.
There's a lot of connections to be made there.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And I think like I'm thinking of us and maybe what value we got out of Expo, what value maybe we didn't get out of Expo, that kind of thing. And I think like a key value of it for us was just seeing what's going on. I think that it wasn't like, right, like there's not like a dollar amount return that we're necessarily seeing on being there, right? Like we weren't at a booth, right. We weren't making sales, that kind of stuff. But since we've been back, I think there's been a kind of I've noticed in just what we're doing, like an excitement in certain specific areas.
Yeah,
I think
some pep in the step.
Yeah, I think just an encouragement of like, okay, what we're doing the right thing, which is nice. Like, because we're kind of isolated in Traverse City, and I talked about this a little bit last episode too. But just to see like kind of how what we're doing stacks up with the coffee community as a whole, and being like, oh, we're doing a good job. Like we're doing the right thing. And then also just seeing what other people are doing and like, wow, that's a great idea. That's super cool. Let's do more of that, this and that. Because ever since we've gotten back, there's been a handful of areas where I feel like we've all been like pushing for more where before we weren't. So I think that's good. I think that anybody that really just wants to be kind of encouraged or spurred on towards doing great things and does want to make connections, because that was fun too. Because we did get to talk to a lot of people that we've like talking to the Valor guys was great, right? Like we really appreciate their content and follow their stuff a lot, and so it was great to be able to actually talk to them, or just being able to talk to some of the people from Onyx, because like all of those people, like they're very present on the coffee internet, and we take a lot from what they're doing, and so it's nice to actually be able to talk to them face to face and that kind of stuff.
These people are real. They're grounded. They have all of wisdom.
Yeah,
it's great to meet a lot of these people.
Yeah, talked to Alika Lifty a lot.
Yeah, he was everywhere, and we were following him around on purpose.
It probably felt
all
like
wearing
we were
the same
clothes. Yeah, he was like at a number of booths throughout because he was just talking about their gear that they use. We actually have some Chiato Z-Baristas now at two of our locations for R&D grinders. We were considering them before.
Yeah,
talked to Alika a lot about them. To help make the decision.
That's awesome.
But they're operational now, so we've got
very cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, but we talked to him a lot about those, and then he was just like at another random booth, and we talked to him about the thing there, and then another.
Yeah.
And then like the last day we were leaving, and we were gonna give him some coffee, just kind of as a thank you for talking to us so much.
Yeah.
But he like made a comment about how we weren't all dressed the same. That day, because we were all just like,
that's right. I remember
and then like black and yellow. Well, it was super unfortunate. So I have this shirt that's yellow, and I didn't think really anybody else was gonna wear yellow. But Ben,
yellow's not a common shirt.
No, but Ben was wearing a yellow shirt that actually used to be mine.
Okay, but that's your fault though. You gave
for a second there. I was like, I don't think I wore a yellow shirt. I was like, but then I was like, the other Ben.
Yeah. Ben was wearing yellow, so then Ben was wearing yellow, and I was
shout
wearing
out
yellow.
Third Ben.
Shout out
Third Ben.
We talked about
so many Bens.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Anyway, so Ben and I were wearing yellow, and then Jack, Adam, and Dan were all wearing black or like dark gray.
Yeah, but like that's like the color.
And then the Mundo's logo on Dan and Adam's shirts was like a deep gold. It's like basically yellow.
Kind of yellow, yeah.
And then the second day there was like a mix of greens and blacks, and it was just
We were coordinating without even.
I was like, when I was packing, I was like, they're all gonna wear the same thing because like this is what they do. They're all related, so they all just dress the same. It's like, what can I pack to like?
How can I be different?
So that I don't.
That's why I got the
like
polo
we don't
today.
all match.
Trying something new.
And then we all matched anyway. So
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And Alika noticed and he pointed it out.
That's
I'm not gonna pack a bunch of like button-up shirts. Just throw a bunch of T-shirts, and they all just happen to be black or gray.
Yeah.
So
I know. Yeah.
That's probably because that's all I own. But
yeah, it's our own fault. But
man,
that was great. So I guess to answer that question, there's a handful of people that Expo is for, and I think in the future, I think that we didn't necessarily like glean a lot from it outside of just information, but I think that it made us want to go back and do more because like we were there and like we could do more. You know, like man, this would be fun if we did more.
So much opportunity there.
And so I think that there's a desire to do that. Whether or not we will, I don't know. But
it was great to take it all in the first time, have that extra free time to go and explore what it all has to offer, who all is there, that kind of stuff. But I think that just made us see like, wow, there's a lot of maybe booths we could brew coffee at, or a lot of connections to be made in the future. So excited for that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And I think too there's a decent amount of like just opinion shifting that happens when you're there.
Totally. Yeah.
Whether or not you have an idea or want your opinions changed and whatnot, like you're going to go there and your horizons are going to be broadened. You're going to be introduced to coffees from places that you didn't think made good coffee.
Australia. I didn't know they brewed coffee there.
Yeah.
I must be living under a rock, but I should know.
Not many people talk about it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Weber Workshops booth had somebody brewing Australian coffee.
Dang, I wish I could.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a bird brew before?
I'm not familiar.
That's the brewer that they make.
Weber Workshops brewer. It's like a French press look. You know what I'm talking about? And they like crank it up and you pull the ground.
I don't know. I've not seen this before.
Oh,
the bird.
You're not really on the internet.
Imagine.
I don't really think they made it into books yet. So.
No, yeah.
Imagine like a French press, but like it's got like
it has like it has kind of like a ratchet.
Metal.
Yeah, it's a dial that basically is like a ratchet system that
basically
like
just imagine if Weber made a French press. That's basically what you. Except for it's not a French press.
Except I feel like Doug would maybe be offended that you.
Well, no, but like
French press.
Weber, like they're gonna go above and beyond. You know what I'm saying? Redesign the wheel.
It is. It's similar, but also different in a lot of ways. But it is a full immersion brew, but it creates a very like clean, maybe AeroPress style cup, and it's just extremely premium feeling.
I can get down with the full immersion brew that's clean.
It was
and
nice.
What do you know what the price point on this that bad boy is?
It's $400.
See, that's the thing. I love what they do. I just,
Yeah, I mean, well,
that's a lot of money.
Well, I mean, because I've actually on Valor's podcast, I don't know, a little bit ago, a couple months ago maybe, they had Doug Weber on. Nice. And Riley was talking to him, and they use expensive stuff to make it, right? Like it's just extremely high quality.
They spent a lot of time, I'm sure, designing it. So
very, very, very conscientious about where they're sourcing stuff from.
Sure.
They're not getting anything from China. They're making, he's based out of Japan, and so they're like, there's just, it's high quality, and so that just makes stuff expensive, but it is nice stuff.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I can only dream.
Yeah,
having a.
Sure. I know. Sometimes I wonder
if they only on my counter.
Yeah,
if these people only make equipment for people to review on YouTube for you to want and maybe spend your money on, but do a lot of people actually use them in day to day?
They
have to, but
I see so many people with them on their bars, and it's like, man.
I mean, they do make those home espresso machines from like Slayer that are like 11,000. So it's like home for who? Like
right.
You mean home as in like the cost?
Home? No, more like mansion. More like
But
it's crazy.
Stuff's nice.
Speaking of coffee brewing, what's your home brewing setup like? I feel like I haven't.
Yeah. Oh, it's simple. I usually brew every day just with a Kalita.
Nice.
That's the daily driver. I have an April brewer at home that I use sometimes. Nice. I have an origami dripper that I use. Shout out Ben Law.
Shout out April.
Huge April fan.
April fiend.
Yes.
Yeah. We should drink some April on.
We should.
We'll see if you should have Ben Law on the pod.
Well, we'll see.
And then get some April.
He might be too tall.
Ben, if you Ben, if you catch up to this episode, then you'll know that we invited you. But you're not going to know.
This is our official.
You catch up because you're way behind. I know you're behind. Just put those headphones in.
Hey, he's a busy guy. You're going to the wedding season.
Hey, it's about to be busy season for him too. Yeah. So, if you ever have him on, get some April. He would love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I would love that. Second shout out, Ben Law.
For sure.
That is way more than the second shout out.
I
feel like 4 or 5.
But this is our official invitation to you, Ben. Come on, let's drink some maple coffee together. It'll be a good time. You love coffee, we love coffee. We'll do it.
What more is there to say?
Exactly. So on your home brewing, do you have like any espresso setup, or you just
no espresso? Yeah. I've never had an espresso home setup.
When I get that fellow that I won, when they send that my way, you can have my Gajah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm certainly I'm down with home espresso setups, and at some point in my life, maybe I'll have one.
It wasn't even on my radar to have one at all. Obviously, it's cool. I wanted one, but wow, I wouldn't actually use it. And to be fair, I really don't use it that often.
Sure.
But it's great, for the wife to have a machine to make lattes at home.
Totally.
Because she doesn't have a cafe to go to all the time.
Totally.
So that's what I do.
That makes sense.
Espresso drinks at work. I don't really use this one at home a whole lot.
I use mine all the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of the life cycle of a coffee in my house is I'll get it and I'll make a filter brew of it.
Okay.
If I love it, I'm going to make filter brews of it every day until either it's gone or it just starts to lose its taste.
Huh.
When it starts when it just starts to get a little bit more dull, espresso. That's where it is. So sometimes if I have a lot of a coffee, right, I'll make it on filter brews, and then as it starts to age, then it'll go to espresso.
Okay.
Sometimes it's man, this is just fine on filter.
Sure.
I'm gonna make this on espresso and see if it's better. And then I feel like a lot of times it is because sometimes a coffee is just more robust and just has a better espresso flavor profile.
Yeah, expresses better as an espresso.
Yeah, for the most part though, it really is just kind of an age.
That's nice. You got a whole timeline.
Yeah, not because older coffee is just better on espresso, but because it's if I have a coffee that's a month old, I'm gonna probably enjoy it more on espresso than I am on a filter. But most days I'll have a cortado first thing in the morning.
All right, I respect that.
And when I say most days, I mean most days that I'm not working, because I do not make coffee before work most of the time. But on my day off for Sunday morning, cortado in the morning, and then sometimes before church I get a cortado and a filter in.
Ooh.
But most of the time I'm like pouring my milk as I'm walking out the door for my cortado, and then I'll come home and make a filter.
And filter? I feel like how in the world would you make it through the whole message without having to go to the bathroom? It's just like the 2 cups of coffee. That's crazy.
That would get me too.
Yeah,
that would get me too.
Be able to
hold it. AJ's got me locked in.
Shout out AJ.
Shout out AJ.
Shout out AJ.
Man, is this the record for most shout outs in an episode so far?
It might be. I went crazy.
I'm okay with
I
that.
went crazy on one of the episodes before.
We'll probably do a clip and I'll just do all the shout outs.
Yes.
And do a little counter.
Nice.
So
nice.
I'm just saying that's where I remember at. Sometimes I forget to clip
Jack
things.
For
editing. Producer Jack, not me.
Yeah, producer Jack. Yeah. Okay. Something I remembered about at Weber's booth. Have you ever tried Apex Labs minerals?
No, but I am familiar with them though.
Yeah. So I've always used Lotus.
Nice.
Water droplets, and so for those that don't know, they're minerals to add to your water for your coffee.
Yeah. If you don't know, coffee is 99% water. So it's pretty important.
Yep. And so if your water, minerals affect the way your water tastes, and they're going to either mute or dull or accentuate acidity or sweetness or all that kind of stuff. And so the minerality of it has a huge impact on the way
I like that word.
Yeah. It has a huge impact on the way your coffee tastes.
Yeah.
Like more than a lot of things. So at home, what I like to do is if I'm not, most of the time, I'll just use Mondo's water. I like the water. I just use it. But if I really want to get into it, I have these water droplets that are they're like pre-diluted minerals, and they're in droplets, calcium, potassium, magnesium, and sodium. And I can customize, right? It's like salt, pepper, garlic, and
seasoning,
I don't know, paprika or something, like I got those, and you're like putting the right amount for your meal. And so I'm doing that to fit the style of the coffee and kind of accentuate certain things in it. These Apex Labs, it was kind of described as a seasoning packet. So it's like, you can kind of customize your own seasoning, but this is just going to make it easy. Yeah. And so you can just take a brew and you can put a couple drops of this in, and you can put the sweet and jammy, or I can't remember the specific names, but it's like sweet and jammy or bright and whatnot. Like they have 3 different ones. That's
really interesting.
And it's like, it's just, you just add that and it does exactly what you want it to do. Sure. It already is the proper balance of minerals to accentuate certain things in your coffee.
Very interesting.
Make it super easy. So with the Bird Brew, they were brewing that with distilled water. And
that was crazy. Straight up distilled water. I was like, what is going on?
But I've done that. I've done that for a long time. Not to get into this, but minerality doesn't appear to have as big of an effect on the brewing process as we thought.
Which is
it
crazy,
does.
because I thought that it was like the minerals obviously affect the flavor of your coffee because of the mineral makeup in your water.
Sure.
I thought it was like the minerals have a huge impact on the way that the coffee extracts with the water because of said minerals, but turns out that it's not at least what we thought.
Wow. That's news to me.
And it does impact it, but it is so small to where in large part, if you want to, which maybe we should do this sometime, it'd be fun. I've done this before.
Taste test.
You can brew a coffee and you can post mineralize it. To taste.
Wow. That's what he did.
That was something that was really cool with that coffee they brewed it on the Bird.
So that's what you did at the booth.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
really cool.
And we got to add.
Yep.
And we got to add the minerals and see how it impacted the taste of the coffee.
That would be really fun to try.
Yeah. It was cool. Yeah.
Wow. Was there a noticeable difference?
Oh yeah.
There was. Yeah. Wow. It was a big, obviously still tasted like I had a sip of it before I added any minerals, and it was very blank a little bit. Obviously it was coffee. Still tasted like coffee, but it didn't have. It wasn't
juicy, but it wasn't bright. It was just kind of flat.
Yeah, a little dull. But adding that, I don't remember which. I think I added the one that maybe accentuated the acidity, because I love acidity in my coffee, and it was like increased the clarity a lot, which was crazy.
Yeah. So if you are like wanting to experiment with water, I definitely recommend the Apex Labs, because that's like an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
If you want more control, You can do something like lotus water droplets. I think those are super fun. But I really liked how easy Apex made it.
That's a cool concept.
I just imagine, like, wouldn't that be so easy to like work in partnership with one of these water companies and tell me like, hey, I have this coffee, brew this with distilled water and add 2 drops of this per 10 or 12 ounce cup, and it's going to taste exactly the same as it does in the cafe, as long as the rest of your brewing equipment is pretty good, which would be sweet.
That could be awesome.
Because that's the biggest thing I feel like for home brewing is obviously you can get all this nice equipment or whatever, but it's the water has a huge impact on your flavor.
Yeah. That's cool.
Water's important.
That's really cool.
It is important.
It's really cool.
Was there anything else that like from Expo that
this might sound repetitive, but it just reminded me, coffee is, I mean, this is also maybe going to sound cliche, and I just don't care. It's really about relationships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was just like so inspiring to me this year, and just like that is the way forward. I think it is not brewing the best cup of coffee, although yes, I'm super into that too, but like let's build the best relationships that we can across the board. And Expo just reminded me of that, and getting to both participate and observe that happen in real time was really inspiring and exciting and special to come home with. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's real. You weren't able to go to this, but Cafe Imports hosted a live podcast.
Well, I wish I could have gone.
Second morning.
Yeah, that was really
that was super cool. Chris Baca of Cat and Cloud mediated it. Shout out Chris Baca.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Yeah, that was great. But he actually asked a question about communicating. Basically, like, we were talking a lot about the rising cost and the impact of that, and so it's like, how do we communicate that to customers and show them the value and in kind of a short way? And Chris answered the question, and really ultimately kind of said in a way of what you said. It's like the value, right? Like, coffee is valuable to us, but like the ultimate value is in the relationships, more than just having great coffee or more than having expensive coffee. The value is what that person's going to find in actually coming into your cafe and connecting with you and your environment and like seeing you and the people. And that's the biggest impact that you're going to have, rather than just saying, like, trying to convince people that your coffee is worth coming in, right? They're going to come in because they care about you, and like that connection is important to them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think that's something that we've always known, but I feel like more than ever, it's becoming more and more important.
Sure. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and I think we're thinking about ways to how do we improve in this area? Like, how do we expand what we're doing? Because I feel like we have always done a good job at Mundo's with connecting with people, right? Like, literally, like, over half the people that I know from Mundo's, and like, not even just from working there, but when I was a customer there, just made like a lot of longtime friends.
All my friends.
But just seeing ways that other people in the industry are taking advantage of being able to connect with people and say, oh, like, that's really creative. Like, that's a super cool way to connect with your customer base, or that's awesome. A super creative way to connect with people while they're in line, or that kind of stuff. So that was
I love it. It's really cool.
Big takeaway.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, I've never sat into a live podcast before, but that was a cool experience.
Maybe you guys could do one someday.
That's crazy.
Maybe we could.
Yeah,
I'll come. I'll attend.
Yeah,
I'll audience questions. I'll ask a question.
Yeah. Well,
sweet,
man.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any thoughts?
Oh man, coffee's good. Always
coffee's good.
Coffee's just delicious. We've got some new coffees on the way from Ally. Actually, we got those Costa Ricans.
Oh yeah, those are coming in very soon.
Those from Akiaris?
Yeah, we got three.
Right.
We got
3 of them.
Pea berry, a red honey, and the anaerobic natural again, which is
quite the array there. Yeah, it's gonna be.
We gotta do like a special sample,
like tasting set. Oh, that could be. That's fun.
Sweet.
That's fun.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. To
I
taste that coffee
I love
3 different ways.
I love whenever we can get a coffee from same farms.
Yeah, we had the
few different
Rwanda
coffees.
Kunakawa natural, and we tried that coffee when Tony was on.
We had the
that was really
Washington
cool
natural.
to see the exact same coffee, exact same farm, just processed
Different.
two different
Yeah,
ways.
that's fun.
Really cool.
It's really fun.
Which is, I've got a meeting with the guy from 1 Acre Fund, Phil, and I'm actually meeting with one of the producers in Rwanda. Obviously, I'm not going to Rwanda, just a virtual
Video
call.
call?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so it'd be great to chat with them there, to have that as close as we can, a personal connection.
Yeah, that's
Love
awesome.
to expand upon that. Go to Origin.
Yeah. I mean,
very
that's something
soon,
that the idea for that we got from the live podcast,
Exactly.
right? It was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well, it was
we can video call people.
exactly.
Like
You know,
we could meet the
obviously you
producers.
want to go to Origin, but that's not always possible.
Yeah.
Timelines might not work out with the producer or the grower, but it's 2025. We can do virtual calls now.
Yeah.
FaceTime, Skype doesn't exist anymore, but whatever it's, yeah.
Rest
Rest
in
in
peace.
peace.
Moment of silence. Zoom killed it.
I never used Skype before. No idea.
Oh, I really only used Skype to like talk to my grandparents when we were younger, or my aunt and uncle that were out of the country.
The
That's
first
the only
time
two
I
times, and
ever
it was always
used any sort of video
Oh,
call
man.
was during COVID, and it was apparently Zoom was. I've never heard of Zoom before, and apparently it was the thing.
Shut up. That needs to be studied.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Speaking of, I got like $35 from a class action lawsuit from them, so because I used it one
Hey.
time and I was like,
What?
you can
Nice.
yeah. If you use it
$35.
between these and this year,
What did they do?
probably like leaked personal information.
Well, I would have let you
Casual
know that. I
stuff,
definitely have a
but
Zoom.
I
have a Zoom
did.
account.
I did forfeit the right to sue them, but
Hey, but you got
I know.
$35.
I've never sued anyone yet, so
Yeah. Okay. Well,
$100.
if you're listening, apparently,
it's too late for that.
is
now.
it too late?
No, that was several years ago.
Oh.
Several.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
I spent that money by now. Long gone.
You didn't put that in a high yield savings
I
account?
did not put that in a Roth IRA. No, we're not a financial
Mistake.
podcast at
Mistake.
all, as you can see.
Yeah.
Do not take
true.
financial advice from us.
Cool.
Well, cheers.
Sweet.
Yeah. Ben, we'll have to have you on more. I feel like there's so much more that we could
We could.
I mean, there's just a lot of things that you've done in coffee that we haven't even
Let's keep it going.
scratched the
Yeah.
surface.
Yeah,
Let's
But
do this
we'll
again.
have to do that again
Absolutely.
sometime. Thanks for making the time to
of course.
come on.
An honor as always.
It was great to talk
Yeah.
and
Love spending time with you guys.
great to see you while we were at Expo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was fun all
Yeah.
the way down in Houston.
Yep.
It's cool.
All the way down.
Can I say one more shout out?
Okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe like 5? I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
Shout out my wife, Jane.
Seriously.
Shout out, Jane.
You're the best. I just felt like this was with all the shout outs I've given, I felt like she deserved one too.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Shout out.
Maybe she
Shout out
might not even listen to this, but if she does,
There you go.
You know, okay.
We'll just feel it.
That reminds me because Jane called me Nick Watt Peaberry.
She
Do you
did?
remember that?
What?
At when Jane used to work at Mundo's, I don't remember how it happened or like what the circumstances was, but she thought that it was really funny that that's what happened. I wrote there was a Nicaragua and a Guatemala and a Peaberry or something, and I wrote Nick Guat Peaberry. I don't know. Anyway, she thought it was really funny because it was like my name, Nick Guat P middle initial Berry.
there we go.
I don't know.
Hey, you know.
Anyway, she thought it was really funny, but that reminded me. We have a coffee right now that is the Juan Martin, and
Oh,
I think of you
nice.
every time.
Oh.
And your name in my head is Juan Martin now.
I'll take it.
Instead
gonna
of,
read-
He's
Some
probably way
stuff
cooler
that-
than I am. So,
but I don't know why. Anyway, that was random and kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But
man, well, that's fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I got.
cool,
Well,
great.
cheers.
Yeah,
That was episode 12, not 13.
Yep.
yep.
13 will be coming at you in a couple weeks
Yeah,
here.
yep.
So thanks for listening. If you have anything you'd like us to know, hit us up in the comments. If you can comment. I don't think you can comment on Apple Podcasts, but
Which is dumb. I think
you
you
know,
can leave a review on Apple Podcasts though. Leave a
that's
5-star
true.
review.
You
leave
can
a,
like pretend it's a comment.
leave a 4.5-star review. Don't. Just leave
I don't-
5.
You
Just do
can't
5.
leave half-star reviews.
You can't leave half stars.
Why would you? No.
That's a really common thing.
No. What? What allows you to leave a half-star review? What's
I
the
have
point of
nothing
that?
specifically, but it's a comment.
I don't. Okay. Don't leave
I'm
a
right.
half-star review, please.
All right.
At least 1 star.
Yeah. Let's just. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
See ya. I'm gonna find a way to add a half star.